friends, so today I wanted to do a video that has been requested over a long period of time and I never got around to doing it. Don't know why, I didn't know if I wanted to do it, but now I do want to do it. It's a very interesting topic. So a lot of you guys have asked me how to start a band, how to get into music, and I've been doing music for forever. So I started singing, I suppose, when I was doing musical theatre as a kid. I was in a variety of stage shows, whether I was just an extra or had a main role, but I've always been singing pretty much. I played some very interesting characters. I played a man once. I played Captain James Fix in Around the World in 80 Days, and they actually put horsehair on me and my face to make it look like I was hairy. Yeah, I've done loads of like Amdram and stuff when I was growing up, and it was probably some of the best memories of my life, like just everybody involved, like the whole people around it. It's just so nice. I've also been in a gospel choir. I was in a gospel choir when I was like 13, 14, and again, that was incredible because I learned so much and it helped me tune my ears a little bit, and it just sort of opened up the boundaries of singing because it was quite a, you know, I was a soprano, so we sang pretty high. Funny enough, my gospel person, lady, teacher, was on Britain's Got Talent this year with her daughters. They were called the Garnett family. It was so random to see her because she's also my next door neighbour. Yeah, so I did gospel, and then when I moved schools and moved down south, that's when I started bands. So when I was like 14, 15 is when I first started my first band, and that was purely because I did music GCSE, and so everybody in my class was obviously like-minded, and so everyone was really into music. And then what you do is you just make friends with people that are really into music, and you're like, lol, should we make a band? Should we do this? Should we fuck about? And all the bands I was in at high school, although when I look back and think, oh, they were so cute, they were, I mean, we were, I suppose, messing around. We were very optimistic and stuff. We used to play like the school assemblies. We'd often play like fairs and stuff like that. But you know, there were never nothing serious. Like you get bored and then you move on to something else the next week. It's just the nature of it. So then I was in another band with pretty much the same kind of people. When we left school, we just continued to make music, but we were in different forms of different bands. And I was in a band called The Snakes for ages, and that was like, they were like the legendary teen years of ours when we were part of The Snakes, because we got up to so much mischief and shit when I was in that band. We used to play, well, we played gigs around Norwich. We made a music video. I'm gonna link the music video in the description. Like, it's all cringe, but it's actually funny. So it's funny because like the people that were in The Snakes, apart from Matt, Roz is sometimes plays for Box Light, Duncan drums for us still. Then Morgan is in a band called Claws, and Morgan's like one of our best pals still, and he lives with the other members of Box Light. Yeah, it's kind of funny. I don't think we've ever really strayed too far from one another. So because I've had the same kind of friendship groups and we've been in bands together, I haven't really had experience with going with other people, but obviously I know people that go with people. So I suppose if you want to start a band, you need to start a band for the right reason. Don't start a band because you want to be famous or you want to be a rock star. I mean, I always say that. I always say I want to be a rock star, but I know there's a lot more to it than that. You need to be in a band because you like music and you want to create music, and you want to create music with your friends. And if that's the reason why you're in a band, then that's a good start. Then you obviously want to find people. Now, I suppose the easiest way is if your friends also play instruments, and you just be like, hey guys, they've come up with this great idea for a band, and just see if they're interested. Or, you know, you can do things like have a few drinks, pick up an acoustic guitar and start jamming and stuff, and be like, guys, we just made some music. Let's have a band practice, or let's go down to a studio and jam a bit more and write some music. Or if you're not fortunate to have friends in your like friendship group or know people that play music, I suppose the next best thing is for advertising in local studios, local rehearsal studios, or even at your college or wherever you may be, for people to want to start a band in the style that you want to start a band. Now, I always find it really funny, like when I started my current band, which is Box of Light, I was going down this kind of folk route, like I wanted to be a folk band, and that's why I said Box of Light, because it was like, oh, the night I'm wounded. But now we're a surf pop band, and it's nothing like we originally intended. So I suppose like if you go in thinking, yeah, I want to start a metal band, and then you come up, I don't know, doing something completely different. That's just the beauty of music migration, and it's sometimes fun like that. But if you want to start like a metal band, or you want to start like a skiffle band, or you want to start a jazz band, then advertise that you want to start that kind of band, and you never know which direction it can kind of go in. Either that, or if you're a very sociable person and you go on nights out and you meet people at bars or at clubs and you get to know people, you never know, you may bump into someone like looking for a member of their band, or who is like-minded and may want to start something. I mean, you could find yourself in a position where you don't necessarily have to start a band, but you could be like join someone else's band. You can either go down the route where you write all the songs yourself and you get people to stand in and be your band. That's kind of like the scenario with me and Connor and Boxlight. So originally Boxlight was a 5-piece. We wrote everything together, we did everything together, but then a few things happened in people's lives where they didn't really want all the responsibility, you know, they weren't sure if they still wanted to do it. So me and Connor were like, fine, fuck you guys, we'll be a 2-piece and we'll do all the work, and then if you want to play with us still, then you can. So basically what happens is me and Connor do all the writing, all the work, all the admin, all the boring shit, and then the other guys, if they're available, they'll come and play with us when we go on tour as like our backing band. So I mean, you could do that, you could write songs, you could be a singer-songwriter but then have a backing band, or you could do it collectively. I personally find it easier doing it on my own, or you could do it collectively with everybody, and you can sort of jam it out in a room and see what comes of it. The best way of booking gigs is to get your name out there and do a little bit of ass kissing at local venues, because you want your stuff to be heard. But how is your stuff going to be heard if the venue that you want to go play at don't know what you sound like? You could get a support slot on someone's gig. I would probably suggest that you start supporting people and doing what you can to get a little bit of experience before you start doing the headline shows. Then what you want to do is, if ideally you want to also get some EPs, some singles out, some demos out. I mean, you don't have to release it on iTunes straight away, but the idea is if you get some music out, you can pop it on YouTube, you can pop it on Bandcamp, you can put it on SoundCloud. This is the way that you're going to get people to know that you can actually play music. So this is the way that you're going to share your music. So again, if you want to book a venue and you want to show them your stuff, then you can shoot them across a load of demos. You'll probably want to do a little bit of social media as well. Like probably a good idea would be, I would say, is to start a Facebook page, just so you can put your music and pictures on there. So when you want to start sharing and advertising your band for people to start getting shows, they know where to look. I would say a lot of the time it is about who you know as well. Like there's that old thingy, it's not what you know, it's who you know, and I completely agree with that. Like if you know a promoter, or you know like a sound guy, or you know someone that works at a bar at a venue, or you know the venue owner, you're more likely to get yourself a gig than if you don't know anyone and you're trying so hard. I mean, it sucks, but that's just the way it is. I would stick to playing like local shows, supporting bands. And then obviously the next step is then like getting an agent or getting a manager. People will find you. If they come to your show and they like what you do, they will contact you. Or if you know a band who's got an agent who you think would suit like booking you, then you just find it through that. I mean, you find people through word of mouth, or like who you know again. But it's just one of those things, like being in a band and gigging is like kind of tough, because you're just constantly trying to prove yourself to people and constantly trying to show people that you are good at what you do and that you're serious about it. You know, it isn't all like glamorous all the time. I mean, some people are assholes who are in bands because they think they're fucking rock stars and have the ego through the, you know, fucking roof, and you're just like, ew. But, you know, it is about being a hard worker and about getting to know people and like, you know, making an effort to get your name out there and make yourself known. So the next thing I want to talk about is touring. If you're lucky enough to get yourself on a tour, or you're headlining a tour, like you managed to get an agent, or you managed to book your own tour, you can go about the tour thing like many different ways. You get someone to book it for you, or you could do it yourself, which is hard work, but worth it. And I just want to talk about like the truths of being in a band going on tour, and it is hard, but it is so worth it. It's the most unglamorous thing ever, unless you really made it and you've got everything sorted. But generally, like bands that aren't like really fucking famous, like headlining all the festivals or on Radio 1 and stuff like that, they will probably either lose money, like, I mean, you're likely to lose money, break even, or make a tiny bit, just from my experience. But touring is something that you kind of invest in. Like, it's something that you know is going to take up a lot of time, a lot of money, but it's going to be worth it in the long run, because it's one of those, another way of getting yourself out there. Because, I mean, for example, we supported Waves on one of their tours, and for us that was great because like Waves is a big influence of ours, and we were getting like instant access to their fans. So we were like, hello Waves fans, we're Box of Light, nice to meet you. It's kind of a bit grim at time, like you all share in this van which you're all going to be in about 3 to 4 hours a day driving around. First day is always really exciting because you're like, yay, tour! And then you get to the venue, you have to find a parking space. Like, this is the one fucking thing that just like is like, oh, where are we gonna park? You normally can park outside the venue and then load your stuff in, but then you have to find somewhere to park for the rest of the night. It's always like the annoying part, right? So then you load your stuff in and then you wait for your sound check. You might have to sound check straight away, or you might wait till before the show, and that can take, well, that's dependent on your sort of circumstances and depending on like what kind of music you play and whatever. You do your sound check, and then you have this weird time in which you have time to go eat or drink before you play. Generally, if you're playing first, you'll sound check last and then play first. So there's no time in between. You're like boom, boom, on, off, on, off. And then once you've played, you then have to wait to the end of the gig, watch all the bands play, load out all together, get in your car, your van, then drive to your hotel, or if you're sofa surfing, you find somewhere to crash. And then you get up the next morning and repeat, and you repeat that for like 7 days. And it's super fun. And some people have like, and it is really nice because you're with your pals for like a long time. And if you get on really well, then that's awesome. You start playing the most ridiculous in-car game. At the moment, we have a game which Ben made up, which is pub or church. And if you see a church, you have to shout church and you get 1 point. If you see a pub, you have to shout pub and get 1 point. However, if the church's name is an animal, you get a point for each leg on that animal. So if it's like the 2 dogs, you get 8 points because dogs have 2 dogs would have 8 legs. That is what we played last time we were on tour. You eat a lot of crap. Eating on the go is really hard, like trying to be healthy. So I just fucking give up on that one. Oh, trying to find time to eat on tour is one thing. Trying to actually eat good is another thing. Partying, well, the thing is, it's because I sing, I have to preserve my voice to make it last for the whole tour. And when I get drunk, I get loud and annoying, like even more loud and annoying than I already am. So if I drink, then I just get gobby, and if I'm gobby, I'll wake up the next morning without a voice. So I don't really drink when I'm on tour. Like, I might have a glass of wine before bed, or I might have a drink before I go on stage, but I don't get smashed, because also you need to feel fresh. One time we got absolutely obliterated in Brighton, and we had our London show the next day, and it was the worst. Like, it was the best gig, like in terms of capacity and who came, but we all felt so shit, so we didn't really enjoy it, which sucked so much. But the lads in my band, they're always fucking drinking. I'm like, guys, you're so unhealthy. The payment at venues is shit. If you're headlining, you'll get, I don't know, like a few £100. Like, if you're a support, you probably get between 50, 100. It depends on the size of you, but that's generally what it's like. When you think there's like, I mean, there's 5 of us. We have to get 2 hotel rooms. We have to pay for petrol in a van. If you add all those fees up, by the end of the week, you probably only just made enough money to pay for the tour. That's why we're so solely like reliant on merch, because if we sell merch, then we can use that for any other costs that we may incur. The merch is probably the one that really actually helps us for paying for tour, because the fees is pretty much gone straight away, because that goes straight down on our hotels. But then if we've sold merch previously, we can pay for a van of it. But if we sell merch whilst we're on tour, that really, really helps us pay for tour and keep going. That's why it's not cool when people fucking steal your merch when you're on tour. So we really, really need it. It really, really helps us. And it's not cool when you want to support a band and you fucking steal from them. Oh, and another thing is sometimes there's no dressing rooms, which I sound like a complete diva, or just somewhere to put your bags and to have a sit down is just really, really nice. But sometimes you'll go to a venue and there's like literally nothing. Once I had to do my makeup, but I was trying to do my makeup, and I asked the guy, is there anywhere I can go do my makeup? And he put me in the men's toilet, and I was literally over a fucking urinal doing my makeup. You know, most venues I play these days will have a dressing room. There will be at least one dressing room. So normally the headliner band will get the dressing room. And if the headlining band is super nice, they will let the support acts also share it with them. Some don't, but But yeah, that's kind of what it's like touring. It's kind of, I sound like I'm moaning about it, but I'm not. I'm just painting the picture of what it's like. It's really, really great for getting your music out there. It's so good for traveling and seeing things, but also it's just a fucking ball of laughs, and you meet some really amazing people whilst you're out on the road. You're definitely tested, like your abilities of being a human being and like your illness. Everyone seems to get fucking ill at some point. But yeah, that is what it's like. Being in a band, being on tour, that's how you start a band. If there's any more questions, of course, ask me and I'll answer them as well as I can. But in the meantime, my band is Box of Light. We do stuff. I'll put the link to our stuff in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys soon. Goodbye.